What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Battlefield 6 will be shown at the Future Game Show. So, this is actually, inadvertently, I didn't mean to do this. This is the start of 3 days, back-to-back-to-back, of different games that I think is a possibility, and we talk about each of them. I'll give you a sneak peek. Tomorrow is going to be LEGO Star Wars, and Monday is going to be Life is Strange 3. Okay, those are the next two. I already actually recorded those, and I'm doing this one last, but you know, this is one that I'm worried to get my expectations too high for or to get excited for because it's very possible it doesn't happen. But things are, I feel like they're lining up for Battlefield 6 to be here, and I'm going to explain why in this video. So, if you guys are new here, if you guys do like my stuff, but you're not subscribed, please make sure that you are. Hit that red subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit the bell icon while you guys are at it so you know when all these videos go up. And final thing is I have a Twitter. We're getting very, very close to 2,000 followers. I'd really love to hit it as quickly as possible. You guys have done awesome, by the way. Anybody who has followed me, they're supporting me. So please, again, the link for that is in the description. My Twitter handle is podcastnow15, okay? Now, for the Battlefield stuff. So, look, we know a couple things about Battlefield. Number one, it's already announced, okay? So it's unfair to say that it would be like announced for the first time at the game, this Future Game Show, because it's already announced. Number two, we know the reveal for it, okay? So when we first see the game, however we do it, because so far we've seen like tech demo kind of stuff for it, is in the spring. Now, March 25th is technically in the springtime, okay? I think spring is a few days before that. Again, I don't go outside. I don't experience weather and weather changes and season changes, so I don't even know what season we're in right now. Number three, if you go on GamesRadar's site, so this is GamesRadar's Future Game Show, okay? When they announced this, they talked about some of the biggest publishers that were going to be there to hype people up. Now, we know there's going to be 40 games, and I say this part in actually all three of these videos. So, you know, I tease the videos that are coming in the next couple days because I think it's important to know. Last year's game show was bad. It was very bad. I think they showed 33 games, and I could say maybe 2 or 3 stood out to me, okay? In all. So 2 out of 33. Awful. I would say downright terrible. I was excited for it. It was not what I and I am actually one that gives game shows the benefit of the doubt. I haven't criticized Game Awards and Gamescom and stuff as much as nearly like many people have criticized it much more than me. I actually keep my criticism relatively low. I will say for this show it was terrible, but last year was different. People were caught off guard with the stuff around the world. Nobody was really willing to talk about or ready to talk about their stuff, so I'm going to give them a pass. Okay, I'm going to give them a pass and go to this year. They said there's 3 big publishers that stood out to me, and actually I think they listed 4 or 5 in all, but they said Warner Bros. Okay, so that's how I get LEGO Star Wars for tomorrow. They said Sega, which could be an interesting, maybe a Sonic game, stuff like that, and they also said EA. Now, there were a few others, but EA. Now, why in God's name would EA be going there? Well, again, if this is a show that's just, you know, like literally just small games, just smaller things, well then, I think that we're probably looking at like Knockout City, right, which is that dodgeball game, which does kind of look fun. I may end up picking it up, but it's probably not on the top of everybody's radar. It's probably not what everybody wants. But if it's not that, what else could it be? Really, there can't be that much stuff else. I guess it could be like Mass Effect, and maybe they could show another trailer for that. Maybe they could show a couple things. It doesn't have to be. See, the thing is, my expectations are so low, I'm literally expecting these 3 big ones that I listed out. I'm literally only expecting one thing. Instead of saying, oh yeah, Warner Bros. Could do, you know, Back 4 Blood, because technically they're the publishers of that. They could do LEGO Star Wars. They could maybe even show Gotham Knights. I'm literally just expecting one. I'm just expecting LEGO Star Wars. For EA, they could do Dragon Age. They could do Mass Effect. They could do Battlefield. They could do their sports games. They could do all sorts of stuff. They'll probably just do one. Like one thing. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to keep my expectations very, very low. But again, remember what I said in the beginning of the video. What do we know about Battlefield 6? That the reveal is coming in the spring. Now, it's EA. It's Battlefield 6. They don't need the Future Game Show. They do, I mean, the last thing they need is probably the Future Game Show, okay? And again, that's not really to beat the show down, but it's saying, and I've said this for years, anytime I talk about if a game will be at a specific show or a conference, one of the things I always say is whether or not the game needs that show to kind of get out there. And this is an example of a game that absolutely does not need it to be shown. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has their eyes on this game. They could do it on their own. It could be a Game Informer cover. It could be an IGN thing. It could be anything. But again, like, they could literally just do it by themselves. A random Thursday. I know this show is on a Thursday, but I'm trying to pick like an obscure day because sometimes news doesn't drop on a Tuesday or a Thursday. They could just pick a random day in April, like a Tuesday, and say, hey, Battlefield 6, here's the first trailer. They could do that. It would get millions of views. Everybody would be talking about it for like at least a week. And that's a lot for the internet that moves off of things after like 5 seconds, okay? So that's just the straight up facts of this game. They don't need this show. But I do think that they do kind of line up. Like this is a show right there. I do think this show is going to be bigger than last year's. I think this show will actually kind of be respectable this year. You're saying that you're having EA there. Why would you? I mean, yes, I was going to say, why would you say that if it wasn't for Battlefield? Well, again, there are plenty of other reasons. You could easily just go with Knockout City because, again, that would be, again, I'm not bashing that game because that game actually kind of looks pretty unique and different. That game is probably the same level as 89, 90, 91% of the other games they're going to show. I still think, and by the way, a week or two ago, I literally did a video, an entire summary video, talking about what could be at the show, okay? I think I briefly mentioned Battlefield. I talked about some other games, but I did like a whole video prediction. And in that video, I talked about, and I'll say it for you guys here, that I do think most of these games are going to be small. Again, I think last year's was bad. Last year's wasn't necessarily their fault, but I do just think they're not big enough to get, this is not an E3. This is not even a Game Awards or something like that. I do think most of which again, it's not a bad thing. It all depends on your expectations. If you're expecting 30 big games and 10 small ones, you're insane, and that's not going to happen. But if you're expecting, kind of like me, and I'm not saying like I'm right, everybody think what I think, but like I feel like I'm in an okay place because, to be honest with you, and I've said this before, I'm expecting 30 to 35 indie games, small games, some of which I may actually like, some of which will have, like, I'll literally not care about and I'll forget 2 seconds after they're shown, okay? That's just that's how the Game Awards has been. That's how many other award shows have been. That's what I think is going to happen for 30 to 35 of the 40 games. The other 5 to 10, I think, could actually be like big ones. You know what I mean? Like, you have a lot of small ones, then you have a big one. Then you have more small ones, then you have a big one. That's what that's personally what I'm expecting. If we leave this show with 3 big game announcements, or 1 or 2 big game announcements, and then 3 or 4 middle tier game announcements, I will call it a win. I will call this show successful. Battlefield is, I think, factually and probably statistically in terms of sales, the biggest of the ones I've brought up. You could argue Gotham Knights, and in fact, some of the Arkham games have actually sold more than the past Battlefield, but the past couple Battlefields have not sold as well as they've wanted to. I think Battlefield, on its top tier, does outsell it would outsell Gotham Knights. It definitely outsells Lego Star Wars. Definitely would outsell Life is Strange, okay? So, and these are just some of the games I've come up with. Sure, there's going to be more. Probably would outsell Sonic, to be quite honest with you. So, this would be the biggest one. The only things that could beat this is like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Halo, an Uncharted, or like a Last of Us 3, or, God of War stuff. I mean, some of these are realistic, some of them are not even realistic, but, you know what I mean? The Battlefield 6 is an enormous game. Call of Duty, right? But Battlefield 6 is big. So I think if this game is shown, it would be the biggest thing at this show, which is fine. And honestly, again, that's kind of why I'm hoping for it. Again, am I expecting it? No, not really. I don't want to get my expectations too high, because if they get too high and then like nothing is shown, oh my dear God, it's going to look really bad, right? So, I always say that. I never tell you guys like, oh, demand it to be there. I never say that, and I also don't ever tell you guys, for the most part, to expect things to be there, right? If it's not there, I think that's okay. We know this game. We know this game is real. We know this game is releasing in the fall, and we know this game is going to be shown in the spring. Those are things we know. So if it's not shown here, we may just have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and it'll still be shown. You know what I mean? It's just longer. We have to wait for it. So let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? Are you excited for this game? Do you think it's a possibility they're going to be shown at this show or somewhere else? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Again, bell icon turned on. Twitter, Podcast Now 15. Again, the link for that's in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.